I'm Alex Hirsch, and I'm a real boy.
Hi, I'm Alonso Ramirez Ramos, and I was the storyboard artist on this episode.
Hi, I'm Matt Brawley, and I was actually the director of the episode.
And also, I think the person who boarded this great scene.
Yes, I tried to board the cold opens and the resolutions of many episodes.
I didn't know when I wrote Mabel gets her braces stuck in a screen door how it would work, but you made it work.
Absolutely.
You made it happen.
Actually, this was one of my favorite things to board on the show, actually, this cold open. Seeing this is our first look at Soos's kind of like normal life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
First time we see his house.
We'd gotten a glimpse. Well, we'd seen his house in Gideon Rises, but I don't think we ever returned, and we never saw, what does he do? He plays video games. He's sweet to his abuelita.
Does abuelita's hair.
This is our second reference. Cousin Reggie, was literally invented for fight fighters. It was like, oh yeah, my cousin Reggie told me about a teen who got in a fight one time, and then we're just like, keep it. He's got a cousin Reggie now forever. But you got to figure out what cousin Reggie looks like.
Yeah, and everyone in Soos's family looks like him.
Dude, I feel the stakes, man. Abuelita being like, you need a girlfriend. I'm like, I need a girlfend.
I love this joke.
What was the joke?
Like the with Grandpa.
He's not there.
He's not there.
Yeah. I gotta give Mark Rizzo props. Mark Rizzo wrote this on this episode, and that's his joke, and it's a killer joke, one of the best in the episode.
Love it.
So Soos and the Real Girl came from a few things. Partially, this came from, we wanted to do a Soos episode. We feel like going into season 2, each one of these characters, if we can, we want to do an episode where we see a little bit more about who they are and what their lives are like. We also had such a good time working with Paul Robertson, killer pixel animator on
Genius.
Fight Fighters. It was so
good.
cool that I was always looking for another opportunity to do something like that. And
Huge friend and fan of the show as well.
huge, yes, contributed so much. And I think early on, this was something I had suggested, this idea, like, maybe Soos does a dating sim. Maybe we play on some of these weird... It's not the most known trope, the Japanese dating sim CD-ROM video game.
Very specific.
Like, anime is very mainstream, but that's kind of weird, which is kind of why we wanted to do it. This section...
This is
Emmy, man.
This section storyboarded by one of our funniest artists that we ever worked with, Emmy Sierga. Old Goldie was. We needed a subplot. She designed this. It was so much even more horrifying than I imagined. I'm so satisfied.
It's so good.
And this is my scream.
Is this Emmy's? Is this Emmy's first?
I think this might have been her first board.
Did a fantastic job.
If not her either first or second board. And the sort of there was a lot of different pieces here. Kind of we liked this. We wanted to do a Soos episode. We wanted to learn a little bit about his home life. Maybe give him a romantic interest. And we really love this idea of going to Chuck E. Cheese and this idea of turning that into a horror thing. The crazy thing is, I remember being in the writer's room and saying like, whoa, evil possessed animatronics. I don't think I've ever seen that done before. And like, as we were writing this episode, a video game called Five Nights at Freddy's was like being created, which has become this huge like video game cultural phenomenon among certain circles, this horror game series. They've made like 10 of them now about possessed animatronics from TGI or from Chuck E. Cheese. But like, this was just a parallel thought. It was the same reference. Like, I always thought Showbiz Pizza creatures were terrifying, and I wanted to do
It was
an episode
crazy
of that.
because the episode was conceived about a year before Five Nights at Freddy took off, and
Yeah.
so like the insinuation, like everybody was like, "Oh, this is an homage." We're like, "No, this is no."
This is not an homage. We just had the same idea, at a different moment. There's so many great little visual gags in this opening. Soos with the out of order on his
so
stomach.
good.
Soos
Yeah.
hiding inside the ring of all the question marks. I remember I had done a pass of this scene where I wanted Soos's flirting to be... There's a few versions of Soos flirting that we didn't want him to come off as creepy. And so I changed it to, your face is good, I'm a Soos. Because I was like, we want it to be clear that he so has no idea what he's doing, that he's practically a malfunctioning robot. We want it to be sweet. We never want him to in any way come across as a creep or somebody who is, because awkward, bad flirting can be a terrible thing. And we want to make it clear that Soos is never the aggressor. He is more frightened of anyone than they are of him.
This is a great gag there where she rags on Dipper.
And Dipper goes, wait,
he doesn't notice.
wait,
it.
what?
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
so
quite notice.
good.
There's some funny
Those are my favorite.
background
These are great
signs in
gags.
here. I like. There's
this
a store called Overalls Are Cool Now, which always cracks me up.
Meet cute. Wait,
cute.
no, that's like. later.
Soos talking about how he's been in a pig's body.
Yeah, that's amazing. Amazing.
Which is just like it's clearly really bad advice
Edgy on
for
purpose.
Soos to talk about his experience being a pig. Like Soos is just our intention with all of this was just he's basically an alien trying to flirt. He says the worst possible thing with no bad intention.
The Goldie tear. Right?
Oh, the tear.
Yeah, I love
think
that.
it's oil. It's the tear's oil.
Right.
The oil.
Oh no.
So some episodes, there's always a main plot which you refer to as the A story, and some episodes there's a side plot which you call the B story. And this episode, we did not know what the B story was or how it worked.
Oh no.
Matt,
That was designed by Matt. The Badger.
Willie
Yes.
Badger. Matt, do you remember that that whole idea of Goldie saves him in the end? We didn't have that at the beginning. We had no idea.
Absolutely not.
I think Emmy suggested that.
I think so. This whole Badger runner B story was I think it was done in board stage. I feel
we all kind of added this late because we knew we needed a parallel scene. We knew what we wanted to set up that third act. We didn't quite know how we wanted it to work.
This
Paul
guy's crazy.
Paul Scheer did a great job.
Gary is insane.
As Gary, the weird. I like that Stan is intimidated by this guy. That he's like, yeah, animatronics are a young man's game. Like that, Arrival for Stan is a more successful huckster, and no matter how dumb what he's doing is, as long as he's getting money from kids, he's better than Stan, and so Stan is really jealous. We get to see Reggie.
Oh, he was Reggie. They're cute.
Feel it, it's muscle.
Oh no.
Beebly Boops was the brand name. We tried to be consistent with our brand names. Candy was Nyum's brand candy. Pretty much every piece of electronics was Beebly Boops brand electronics.
Oh, there's Fight Fighters.
Dr. Punchhead.
Oh, what's this?
Romance Academy 7. And we tried to put references to the other games that we've seen so far in the series.
Oh no.
Hiding in the background.
That drawing is so
You
good.
designed that, right, Matt?
I did.
Yeah.
That guy? How do you feel about that design, Matt?
I have mixed feelings. Also, the agents. We saw the agents
The
earlier
agents
in
were
the
in the
mall.
mall,
For what it's
yeah.
Oh
worth.
yeah, so
Setting up.
the secret agents are hidden in every single episode in the first half of the season. Sort of like in season 1, we were hiding Blendin. We wanted to give something for eagle-eyed viewers.
Oh, I love this
is
joke
so
too.
good.
This is where we first start getting Paul's stuff, and I think who boarded this sequence?
This
That's
is
Sabrina.
Emmy.
I
No,
think-
wait.
I think Emmy did this sequence.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then-
It's still Emmy.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right.
I love this joke.
M3 done kind of hard playing. I'm a big fan of going to Little Tokyo, and I love Japanese culture, and I also love mistranslations of all kinds. We figured there'd be a couple mistranslations. We wanted to get. It seemed that the tropes of this are schoolgirls, cherry petals, and weird rewards for success. It seemed like so the arc that we wanted to give Soos in this episode is sort of like Dipper's arc actually in Fight Fighters, which is somebody has a real world problem that they try to solve in the wrong way. Like Soos is not wrong to want to learn to become more confident, but he's wrong to think that talking to women is something that you can game out like a spreadsheet.
Sure.
And when he finds a comfortable place where it's like, oh, I don't need to talk to people, I can just live in this fantasy
Yeah.
world, like that's kind of a real problem.
Absolutely.
Right, and I
this
feel
is
like
a real thing.
I feel like he had the solution all along. If he was just himself, it's
Yeah.
just kind of like
Absolutely.
he's going about it the wrong way, and kind of comes back to a place where he's himself.
Yeah.
and he's liked for being that. And,
Well, because Soos is, and I think Wendy says at the beginning of the episode, she's like, "You're a nice guy, you're a funny dude. You got a pickup truck, you're all right."
yeah,
But
so
he'd
wonderful.
rather hide. See,
Right.
Soos here.
But he's so Soos is. I mean, a lot of Soos is that he is. Every character in the show, in some way, kind of represents a comfort or discomfort with childhood, adulthood,
Love this
teenhood,
joke.
right? So like Soos is an adult who's basically still a child.
Yes.
And like this stuff that Dipper's going through, Soos is still going through this.
So this is all Sabrina Coutinho's section, and it was all marvelously boarded. This was her first boarding.
This was
on
Sabrina's
the
first
episode.
board
Yeah,
on
yeah.
on this
And
episode.
she killed it.
She did an
a great
amazing job. She loves anime and knows a lot about anime tropes and about like the style, and was very involved in the designing of Giffany, and really wanted to take this section.
It's Giffany.
It's up for debate.
I love Mabel's screwed up "You can do it, Sue" sweater.
I love the not Furby.
Fixin' It 1 is his password, which is a reference to the Fixin' It with Soos shorts. We always imagine that's something he really did, and we love the idea.
Diary.
We were trying to think, we're like, if we're going to spend a little more time with Soos's family, we need to give Abuelita one thing that we didn't know about her before, because she seems kind of checked out, and it was like, maybe she's just, Soos's life is her own soap opera.
That's so
and she's
accurate.
creepily following the entire thing.
This is a small thing worth pointing out, but one of the girls that just ran by was actually a Make-A-Wish kid who was put into the show.
Yes.
That was a really
Right.
cool thing. It happened about 3 or 4 times. Make-A-Wish kid would come in, meet the crew, and get a character.
The Make-A-Wish program was awesome, the way they reached out to us and connected us with fans. And, you know, it's such a scary privilege. Like,
Sure.
when a kid loves your show enough that is their wish, is that they want to see it, you want to give them everything you can.
Absolutely.
And you feel like there's nothing you can do that's enough. So we did everything we could. In this instance, we had them do a voice of the crowd. We animated them. We put them in the episode. We gave them a tour of the studio. And I really thank you, Matt, for doing those designs, because it's
pleasure.
It's a privilege to do something like that. And I'm so glad that everyone was on board.
Yeah, the boy that said Willy Badger.
The other boy who
yeah.
said Willie
He's
Badger, I
coming up
love
too.
you, was another one of those
This
kids.
is an incredible storytelling moment that Sabrina
It's
figured out. It's
wonderful.
really amazing. This
Look
is-
at that
wow.
image. It's perfect.
Punch.
Perfect setup.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
The left
so
and the right and the.
I gotta
just
give credit to
great.
Sabrina for being one of our rock stars. This was her first storyboard on the show, and she just great storytelling.
Okay,
imagery.
so we're into Alonso's section now. Alonso.
Right. Yeah. So this is Melody's introduction, which is that character I got to also design and kind of figure out what she would look like, and kind of be sort of a compliment for Soos. And it happens so quickly. They meet, they talk about some silly things, and
It's so genuine.
and
though.
then and the next thing she's off, and but I really tried to make it that this could be a real thing, and they would be a good fit for each other.
I love this sequence. I think you did an amazing job. I think Melody's design is perfect. Like, because there's something about her where she feels specific and unique. She doesn't just feel like, oh, it's obviously a girl version of Soos. There was a version in the script, I think the very first draft of the script, where she was essentially literally just a female Soos.
Sure.
And it felt like that's not what would it take for Soos to get out of this issue? It would
Right.
take somebody who likes what he is when he's genuine. And what Soos is
Right.
when he's genuine
Right.
is a sweet guy who, he's a man-child. He likes the childish things. So he needs somebody who also likes childish things and is impressed by somebody's lack of consciousness about that.
Exactly,
Seeing him
exactly.
be unself-conscious, you did such a good job of boarding all this stuff where Mabel's freaking out. and she's
Freaking
punching.
out.
knock over a
I
plant.
Also-
love her. Just Mabel's so excited.
She's
They're
so
so
great.
happy for Soos.
I remember when Melody says goodbye, I remember really wanting those eyes to be really perfect.
You
So
did a
I
draw
remember
over
we did
on
a
take
draw
ones,
over.
yeah.
It was like, this gotta be
Yeah,
a moment that resonates.
When Soos doesn't even realize he's flirting. Like, he has
Right.
no idea that he's just, chilling out.
Now he's got to tell Giffany.
So
Giffany.
Giffany
I hope
doesn't
it goes
take it
well.
well. So this was, I'd say, the biggest challenge with this episode, and it's probably my only regret with this episode, because I think it's really fun, and I think there's a lot of good comedy, and I think it's got a pretty good sort of lesson for Soos. But I think personally, I think one of the things we struggled with was we wanted this character to sort of be an homage to these anime tropes, and there's the trope of the character who seems really sweet but actually has this this very dark side, and I think we wanted to show that this is the wrong solution. Like, Soos shouldn't date a game. The problem is we made her it's Gravity Falls. So she is conscious. So she is kind of alive. And I think that there would have been an opportunity to give some depth to this character. But I think the feeling was, she's this living trope. She's a living, like Rumble McSkirmish.
Right.
Right.
Who himself has no depth. And
Right.
so we kind of treated her like Rumble McSkirmish, just like this character who's designed to be this way.
So
Right.
Giffany also oversimplifies relationships and things. It's gonna be forever perfect, or you're mine or not, and then
Right.
you die. It's sort of like she goes to extremes and is not a real person. So I think
Exactly. And that was
Soos
our
needed to learn to
intention.
be with a real person. Yeah.
But I think there was a missed opportunity there. And I think this episode kind of had a mixed reaction from some people because a lot of people loved it. But there was a number of people who felt that Giffany as a character, there was a reductiveness about her presentation. And looking back on that, I see it. Like I do, if I could change anything, I think I would try to find a way to make her a little more sympathetic, and give her a better ending. We actually storyboarded. Our original ending for Giffany was that she is zapped into one of these games and that her and Rumble McSkirmish get together. And the only reason we cut it was because that somebody came up with that idea of Stan and Goldie going to Vegas, and it was so funny. We watched both of them and we're like, this is one of the funniest scenes in the season. We got to keep it. What's the big difference? And then a lot of people saw this episode. They're like, they killed Giffany, and all she wanted to do was be his great girlfriend. And it's one of those things where a very small decision where you're like, oh, we've got these two options. This one seems a little funnier, can be interpreted as this giant statement,
right,
when it isn't really,
We could have also used more time, like the story needed more scenes with her to like really interact, and we didn't have it. So we just have to cut to the action, and right now we're in the climax. So it just needed to resolve.
Right. Well, and we thought, I think we in the writing, we said in that turn where she discovers that Soos has found someone else, we figured if she said something to him like, no one else will ever love you, she'll so clearly be a villain at that point, because she's supposed to be the spoken manifestation of Soos's fear. Soos's fear is exactly what she's saying, which is nobody else is actually going to like you. Only a video game could love you. So stay with what's comfortable. The feeling was, oh, well, that will be clear. So when this character who's the manifestation of that fear is extinguished, Soos is free. But people loved Giffany. Like, she was so well animated, so well storyboarded. The voice actress did a great job.
She's adorable.
Sometimes there's something that you don't predict, which is that if everyone's really bringing their A game, people fall in love with things that you don't expect them to fall in love with.
Right. And also, I think it's implied heavily that she... ended a number of people.
We tried to suggest that she murdered a bunch of people. Yes. That was the other day. We're trying to say, like, she tells Soos that no one will ever love him, and she killed a bunch of people. So when she gets defeated in the end, she kind of had it coming.
She's a bit extreme.
But people bond with characters if they see themselves in them.
Sure,
if they see a character who's heartbroken, they feel for that character, I do think if I could tweak anything in the writing, I would tweak that, but I wouldn't tweak anything in the execution, the storyboards. This sequence,
and we love her as
unbelievable
crazy squirrel.
Alonso, talk to me a little bit about storyboarding this.
I do remember having like a showbiz pizza growing up in Mexico, and I remember how weird it was.
This is
and
so good.
Awesome, and I definitely had the memories to kind of bring this sequence to life.
This is magnificently boarded. Like I couldn't have imagined giving that to anybody other than Alonso.
Oh no, the badger! You're about to get badgered. That's what he says, right?
Who wants to get badgered?
That face is so mad. It's so good.
No, that's so funny.
The designs of those creatures, Robert Ryan Corey, one of our designers, really amazing, particularly at especially grotesque creatures, did an awesome job.
Love the specificity of the skee ball shooting at them. That was so cool.
Right.
So I loved that this is what happens when Soos goes on a date.
This is a great shot.
That's
Yeah, I love the way that came out. There's so much where the visuals are telling the story.
That's my perfect blue on that.
Deep cut.
So Soos has a hero moment here. His desire to shut out reality has now caused him to have to face a lot of reality. And
how are you gonna get into the kitchen? He just
like a penguin, like a penguin. The only way he knows how.
I was like, can we do that? Like,
a great solution.
Amazing. The way the slight resistance on the hand going through that arcade machine is incredible. This was so real. This fight.
Yeah, when we added the sound effects, it's like Stan is getting really beaten up.
And here Goldie saves him.
So I think this was Emmy's idea. The idea that Goldie, and it made the whole B story. It all suddenly works.
It just all came together.
Because for Stan, that's a metaphor for like, oh, this is whose joke was this?
Matt and I, we kind of were figuring out.
I'm gonna say it's your joke, Alonso, but I don't.
That is your joke.
This is definitely.
This
is my joke.
I think the shoe joke was in the script. I think that might have been Mark's joke. Apologies, other writer, if I got it wrong. But I just love that it's so specific.
I love that it ends in the kitchen. It's very specific. Pizza oven.
We also this is again we really tried to make her as villainous as possible. So this idea that she's basically saying to him, there's not a single human alive that will care for you.
Right.
We thought this would make people turn against her, but no. They love a cute schoolgirl with pink hair, man.
And it's okay, and that is okay too. You know, we like
Yeah.
her too.
Well,
as
she's
a villain.
inherently tragic.
The implication
It's
that
the
what
tragedy.
she's gonna do with that, it's like really terrifying.
Yeah, she's gonna jack it
Where's
into
that
his
going?
stomach. I think in the first board of that, it was more like a needle or something. It was like, that's way too terrifying.
Right, you made it a USB.
It's gotta be a USB. This is all so well boarded, every detail, like the way that her mechanism on her works.
Can't wait for the melt.
Just
dude.
the bubbling of that is amazingly well done. Paul Robertson did
I
such
did
a
a
good
lot of
job of that
bubbling.
end. And at this point, a million anime fans screamed in horror. How could you kill her? She was cute and sad.
Hey, she lives.
That's true. Oh, and we do confirm in journal number 3 that the original ending of her with Rumble, in fact, has happened. That they are together now. Two one-dimensional video game characters designed just to fight and just to love, which are the two things relationships are comprised of: fighting and loving. So it'll be perfect.
Perfect.
This is she did such a good job of the voice on Melody.
Jillian Bell.
Jillian
Yeah.
Bell was one of the, I would say, out of all the people who came in to do voices, like the very first time she spoke the first line, it was like you just doubled the endearingness of this character. Jillian Bell, so funny. We
so great
really
for her.
tried to add little specificity to her. The idea that she has had awful dates before. Her thing with the itchy legs earlier, like she actually shaved her legs for this date because she actually likes Soos. The entire reason for that detail was to suggest she doesn't go on a lot of dates either, and so this is important to her.
Absolutely.
And you did this ending, right? Matt?
I think, yes, I did the resolution.
Yes.
Alex, you sang this horrible song, didn't you?
I mean that's John DiMaggio singing this song. I did we loved the idea of Stan and Goldie going out on the town, and we recorded. Me and Jeffro, one of our writers, just got into
And
the
that's
mic
Sabrina's.
and made up a bunch of fake lyrics. and
Beautiful
then-
vignettes by Sabrina.
Beautiful vignettes by Sabrina. John DiMaggio came in and did an amazing job of a Lil Wayne-esque singer. 2 kings! What